Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, an arrest is made in the fatal stabbing at a Victoria motel. Plus, now that voters have said no to a tax rate increase, what's next for Victoria ISD? And the latest on racist texts targeting Black Americans with disturbing "Pick Cotton" messages.
We've got some big storms up in North Texas. The tail end of that front is actually here. It'll be dragging through our area tonight with one or two little showers. Nothing significant, but it will be a nice weekend, and we'll talk more about it coming up in just a moment.
A San Antonio husband is charged in his wife's murder case. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon, and thanks for being with us. I'm Shawna Currie. We have an update to that fatal stabbing at a motel on Houston Highway Thursday afternoon. Victoria police arrested a 31-year-old man on a murder charge in that case. Adrian Bearfield was booked into the Victoria County Jail around 5 Thursday afternoon. His bond was set at $750,000. Bearfield is accused in the death of 25-year-old Zachary Manuel. Officers caught up with Bearfield in the 3300 block of Catalpa Street shortly after the deadly incident at the American Inn & Suites on Houston Highway. Authorities have arrested a Victoria man in connection with his fiance's death last month near Edna. Jackson County officials confirm 39-year-old Jose Miguel Salazar is in custody, accused in the death of 24-year-old Jasmine Ramirez. The incident happened on October 17th along Highway 59, and Salazar was booked into the Jackson County Jail that same day. Details surrounding Ramirez's death are still under investigation, with authorities yet to release further information on what led to the tragic incident. The investigation remains ongoing. A portion of Farm to Market Road 3131 in Jackson County is closing for construction. Starting on Monday, the Lavaca Navidad River Authority, or LNRA, will close FM 3131 between FM 1593 and FM 1822 in order to drill and install instrumentation in the embankment of the dam. Detour routes will be set up via State Highway 111 and State Highway 172. Signage will be in place for drivers to navigate through that detour. Motorists are advised to expect delays and plan for additional travel time. The road will stay closed through December 20th. The Seadrift City Council has several agenda items to look out for in their upcoming meeting on Tuesday, November 12th. One of the main topics that we'll be looking at, a potential temporary suspension of animal control services. Alderman Paul Gonzalez will be leading that discussion. And this brings us to our viewer poll for today. What animal issue should be the top priority for a city? Looks like right now a little more than half of you feel that expanding spay and neuter programs, it should be a priority. And then kind of split at the bottom there between enhancing animal cruelty prevention and strengthening stray animal efforts. But we want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote, and we'll have the latest on 25 News Now at 6. Just in time for Veterans Day, a Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall, replica that is on display in Victoria. The memorial wall is an 80% replica of the original monument in Washington, D.C. It displays the names of more than 58,000 Americans who died in the Vietnam War. The wall will be on display at the Field of Honor on John Stockbauer next to Parkway Church until next Tuesday before going to its next location.
So it's special that we brought it here, and then they get to visit it, and veterans from all over, Vietnam veterans from all over, will come here and view the wall, and some of them will see their buddies' names on the wall. So that makes it really special.
There are more than 2,400 flags on display next to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. For more information on the different colored bows on those flags and to see the Vietnam Memorial, you visit the site near the intersection of John Stockbauer Drive and Salem Road. Victoria ISD will have to wait for more state funding for employee pay increases. A voter approval tax rate election, or VATRE, was voted down at the polls on Election Day. There were 13,000 voters in favor and 15,000 who said no. The district had planned to use the additional revenue for employee pay increases. This was a year-long process by the district to make Victoria ISD more competitive with other districts.
Well, we're in a very competitive field, and we have to bring in teachers from other areas of Texas to Victoria to educate Victoria's 13,000 students.
Myers says that there will be no new funding source for public schools and that the state legislature will go into session in January. Well, we're heading into the weekend, so let's take a look at our forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, what's going on outside tonight?
Fairly warm and still on the humid side, but where's the cooler air? Well, the cooler air is behind this frontal system. The front is actually triggering heavy rain, big thunderstorms up in the North Texas area, but we're just going to get a thin line. But by the time it gets through here tomorrow morning, things will be looking better. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about Rafaela coming up in just a moment. Back to you, Shawna.
Thanks, Mac. A federal judge strikes down the Biden administration's parole in place policy. President Biden's Keeping Families Together program, issued in June, allowed certain undocumented individuals married to U.S. citizens to gain legal status and work while pursuing citizenship. However, U.S. District Judge J. Campbell Barker paused that program, ruling that Congress had not authorized it. Texas and 15 other states also sued to block the policy. This case is part of several legal challenges to Biden's policies the incoming Trump administration may choose not to defend. Black Americans across the country are receiving racist text messages telling them they've been selected to pick cotton. The messages were sent after the election and the sender is unknown. A Houston teenager and some of her friends were some of those who received the text. Stephen Goins spoke to her mother, who says the disturbing messages should be taken seriously.
It's disturbing that you would send it to somebody.
Laura Bass Brown says she was immediately concerned on Wednesday after her daughter, a student at Cywoods High School, sent her a screenshot of a text she'd received.
And she said it's a message that her and some of her friends received. And so I'm like, which friends? And so she said, all of my black friends.
The message, which greeted the 15-year-old by name, says in part, "You have been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. Our executive slaves will come get you." At first, this mother thought,
maybe it's just hackers, with the election just happening.
But then her daughter sent screenshots of the messages her friends had also received.
They responded to the message, and a person responded back about them. They are going to have an owner, and the owner is going to feed them, make sure that, it's like they went on for other things. And I'm like, no, it's a person doing it.
The messages came from an unknown number. Bass Brown believes the sender used an app to spoof a new number. Tonight, she says, she considers the message a threat.
To have somebody threaten their lives or threaten their livelihood or threaten their family's livelihood, it becomes uncomfortable.
FBI Houston has confirmed it's aware of the messages, and in the past 48 hours, there have been multiple similar reports of Black Americans receiving messages like this in close to a dozen states. But wherever the messages came from, whether hackers, pranksters, or a foreign adversary, this mother says it's not okay.
It's like this should not be sent to any student, black, brown, blue, purple, yellow, whatever.
The husband of a missing San Antonio mother of 4 has been charged with her murder. Brad Simpson was officially charged yesterday, though the arrest affidavit is sealed for 30 days. He was questioned by Bexar County Sheriff's officers before his charging, but it's unclear what was discussed. Suzanne Simpson, a realtor, was last seen October 6th in Olmos Park. She disappeared after a reported argument with her husband. Police, with state help, searched a landfill without finding her, but believe there is enough evidence to charge him. Police plan a press conference this afternoon to address the case. Join us Sunday on 25 News Now at 10 for Off-Season Grind, a 25 News Now extra with weekend sports anchor Ray Robinson. With football season winding down, what are athletes doing to stay in peak condition during the off-season? Join Ray as he teams up with a local athlete for a workout. Learn more about the exercises that keep our Crossroads teams in top form. That's Sunday on 25 News Now at 10. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. You can see those 25 News Now extras and all of the other local stories that we report. Stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, the Justice Department uncovers an Iranian plot to kill Donald Trump. Also ahead, the Biden administration allows U.S. contractors in Ukraine to assist.
If you have a question for Madison, just ask. Email her at the email on your screen or give her a call at 361-580-6558.
Welcome back. The Justice Department on Friday disclosed an Iranian murder-for-hire plot to kill Donald Trump. According to the unsealed criminal complaint, the suspect was instructed this past September to put together a plan to surveil and ultimately kill Trump. Two other men who the authorities say were recruited to participate in other assassinations, including a prominent Iranian-American journalist, were also arrested Friday. The plot reflects what federal officials have described as ongoing efforts by Iran to target U.S. government officials. Last summer, the Justice Department charged a Pakistani man with ties to Iran in a murder-for-hire plot. Well, exit polls showed the economy was a key factor in Donald Trump's 2024 presidential election win and a major liability for the incumbent Democratic Party. So what's next for the U.S. economy and consumers as Donald Trump prepares to take office again?
The economy loomed large in the 2024 presidential election.
The number one issue in this county is the economy.
I think inflation, economy, that's the big thing.
Despite low unemployment and economic growth, about 2/3 of voters described the U.S. economy as not good or poor, according to CNN exit polls.
What's happening in the economy right now and how people feel about the economy is in some ways a little bit disconnected.
Inflation has cooled from a 4-decade peak of 9.1% in June 2022 and is closer to the Fed's target rate of 2%. But the sting of higher prices has endured.
Generally speaking, it got more expensive to live your day-to-day life.
It's gonna do good.
President-elect Donald Trump campaigned on reducing inflation and taxes. But Mark Zandi, chief economist for Moody's Analytics, warns too many tax cuts could boost inflation.
If they're financed by borrowing money, deficit financed, that's going to juice things up, and that causes inflation as well.
Trump's plans for tariffs on imported goods are still being fully sketched, but Jacob Channel, senior economist at LendingTree, says Trump needs to be cautious with his plans to deport millions of undocumented workers.
If you implement a bunch of tariffs while at the same time drastically reducing the United States' labor force, you're probably going to end up with higher prices.
Voter sentiment aside, Zandi says Trump will have a solid economic starting point.
He's getting a very good economy, and hopefully he's a good steward of that economy going forward.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Biden administration allows U.S. contractors in Ukraine for the first time since the Russian invasion. A U.S. official says contractors can now assist Ukraine with maintaining and repairing U.S.-provided weapons, including F-16 fighters and Patriot air defense systems. The policy was approved before the election, and it's unclear if Trump will keep it when he takes office in January. Trump has pledged to end the Ukraine-Russia war within 24 hours of returning to the White House. A defense official confirms contractors will stay far from front lines and will not engage Russian forces. In health news, it's the most commonly used federally illegal drug in the U.S. Results from the 2021 National Survey on Drug Use and Health show more than 52 million people used cannabis at least once that year, as laws around this drug are loosening in some states. Researchers are putting out a warning about use during pregnancy. Today's Health Minute has more on a new study and the risks facing pregnant people who use cannabis.
It's a drug that continues to be prevalent. In the U.S., at least 24 states have legalized recreational cannabis, but the concern for this drug still looms.
I think sometimes people think that because cannabis comes from a plant, that must be safe. And that just really isn't the case at all.
Sarah Kime with Nationwide Children's Hospital is lead author of a study on the effects of cannabis exposure in pregnancy. Of the children studied who had prenatal exposure to the drug, researchers found many had both cognitive and behavioral impacts.
On average, had more difficulty controlling their impulses and paying attention. They had poorer planning ability and also had a higher likelihood of exhibiting more aggressive behavior than the children who were not exposed to cannabis prenatally.
Kime says a growing number of people are turning to cannabis for issues like nausea, sleep problems, stress, and depression. Those issues are common in pregnancy, but she says using cannabis to relieve them poses risks to the person pregnant as well.
I think it's important that patients know that there are better and safer alternatives to deal with those common problems than cannabis.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Texas State University President Kelly Damphouse condemned the actions of two men who came to the San Marcos campus the day after the election with homophobic and misogynistic signs, characterizing their messages as, quote, disgusting. To read the full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com.
Well, coming up, we'll be talking about the winter storm rolling into the plains versus the tropical storm still rolling around in the Gulf of Mexico. All that, we'll take a look at your weekend, too. All that coming up in a moment. Well, good afternoon, everyone. 78 degrees as you head out the door right about now. We managed to get up to 90 again. That is not what we're supposed to be doing in November. That's actually ties our record high set back in what, 1924? That's unusually warm for November. We're supposed to be down into the mid 70s. Now, as we get to the weekend, there'll be a little bit of a cooling trend, but not much. Now, a couple of little sprinkle showers occurred along the coastal bend right about now, as you can see that right there. But the heaviest stuff really is happening up in Dallas, where they're getting severe thunderstorms even as we speak. In fact, Dallas right now, Tarrant County, is under a tornado watch even as we speak because of the winter storm that's coming out of the Rockies. It's rolling into the plains. It's making it rather volatile throughout the central plains, but as far as Texas is concerned, the heavy stuff ends right at about Waco, and then it sort of thins out as it gets down to our area. You can see all the big snows that are occurring through Colorado, New Mexico. All of that's going to be moving into the plains as well. Here's a close-up view, and you can see the counties. Oh, well, I misstated. I thought Tarrant County was under it, but they've got heavy thunderstorms rolling through the area right now. This is the I-35 corridor. There's Waco, and they are under a tornado watch even as we speak. Now, what's going to happen? Well, the tail end of the front, now here's Victoria. Watch Austin. The tail end will come through our area tonight with just one or two little light showers, while the real heavy stuff continues rolling eastbound up there toward Louisiana. And that's at sunrise at 6, well, there you go, 6 o'clock in the morning. We'll have a cloud or two, and we'll have maybe a few leftover showers. But by and large, all that's going to push out to sea, and it's going to be a distant memory by the time you get up on Saturday morning, because we're looking for lots of sun, little bit cooler, only about 78, 80 degrees as high temperatures and the north wind blowing. But that frontal system is the hero of the battle. See, here's the frontal system right there, and there's this tropical storm, which is going to fall apart in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. When have you ever heard of a tropical storm developing and dying right in the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, it's going to be skirted to the south because of that frontal system that's coming through our area tonight. When does it get here? About midnight. You'll feel the winds sort of shift around to the north, and it'll be much drier air. So we're looking for an 80, but with low humidity, it's going to be very comfortable for tomorrow. Look at that, 70 in Dallas, 69 up here, and even 59 in Amarillo. They're going to be enjoying that weather. So this is all going to be good for Saturday and Sunday. Problem is, we actually needed some rain. Some people are telling me, well, that'd be great if that storm in the Gulf came in and gave us some good rain. Yeah, well, it's not going to happen. It's still, believe it or not, a hurricane, 100 miles an hour, still rolling around. You can see that very tight spin, but it is a very compact storm, and within the next 24, 48 hours, you can already see how it's beginning to shear. Watch how it's going in this fashion. And then all of a sudden, something slices it off the top right about there. That's the opposing wind. That's the wind shear that's going to kill it probably over the weekend. Tomorrow, good looking day, getting up to about 80 in Port Lavaca. And then in Cuero, you've got sunshine all day long, getting up to about 81. We're looking for comfortable weather on Saturday. If we have any clouds, it'll be early in the morning, about sunrise, and then it clears up. Sunday's looking really good. No rain through Wednesday, and then another front that will actually, hopefully, get us back into the 70s for later in the week. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that, and you can put Crossroads Today on your phone. We'll toss it back to Shawna.
All right, thanks a lot, Mac. Looks like a great weekend to get outside. Well, coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at stocks. Plus, Steve Madden cuts China imports to avoid Trump tariffs.
So excited to host the CMA Awards again.
Nashville, here we come.
Hang tight, honey, got a pocket full of money and I'm headed straight home to you.
Landy, what are you doing here?
I'm hosting the CMA Awards with y'all.
Country music's biggest night is almost here. Join us for all the excitement live from Nashville. It's the CMA Awards right here on KAVU ABC 25.
Y'all ready to do this?
I can pull off bell bottoms.
Sure you can, buddy.
Here's a look at what you can expect on Community Crossroads. We hear from the Victoria Animal Services, the Salvation Army of Victoria. We hear from Madison O'Hara and theater students from St. Joseph High School.
I think one of the highlights we can look forward to is the music and especially our horse. Our horses. Horses, we have two.
That, and we do a couple of stunts in it, so those are exciting.
Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow is up 260 points. The S&P 500 is up 22 points. The Nasdaq is up 17 points, and oil is down $1.87 to $70.49 per barrel. U.S. shoe company Steve Madden announced plans to cut its reliance on Chinese imports by half in order to avoid tariffs proposed by President-elect Trump. About 2/3 of Steve Madden's products are imported, with 70% from China. Rather than moving production to the U.S., the company will shift sourcing to other countries. Trump's proposed tariffs aim to boost U.S. manufacturing, but are criticized for raising consumer costs. The Peterson Institute estimates these tariffs could cost middle-income households over $2,600 per year. Nissan is slashing thousands of jobs and planning deep cuts to production due to declining sales. Thursday, the Japanese automaker said it will cut 9,000 jobs and shrink global production by 20%. Nissan executives will also take voluntary pay cuts, including its chief executive, who is taking a 50% cut in monthly compensation. Nissan has struggled to keep pace as consumers increasingly opt for hybrid and electric vehicles. The company plans to focus on building its electric and hybrid lineups in China and the U.S. Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast when we come back. Plus, Microsoft Paint gets AI tools for image creation and editing. And here's a look at what's coming up on World News Tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
Tonight, as the Trump transition takes shape, the thousands of positions to fill, where things stand, plus the fast-moving wildfires in the West threatening homes and lives. World News Tonight with David Muir, the most watched newscast in America.
Microsoft Paint is getting an AI upgrade. The company is rolling out new artificial intelligence tools for the program as part of an update to Windows 11. Paint's a very basic graphics editing program that comes free with Windows, but this update will be giving users access to new features, including the ability to add AI-generated graphics to their artwork simply by typing what they want to see. And users can create and edit AI images on top of their own pre-existing artwork. So pretty interesting there. You can you don't have to be so artsy or
well,
tech savvy.
You went and took some classes in AI, and we're trying to figure out what's the world going to look like. Because all I have to do is tell the computer what you want, and there it is.
And it's amazing how realistic some of those images come out to look.
And basically, it's just a computer that they threw a lot of information in, and you just ask it for a picture of, France. Boop, there it is.
Yeah,
crazy. Well, anyway, folks, for us, we've got a humid evening right now because we are on the south end of everything. But a weak front will come through overnight around midnight, and that will bring us a north wind. In the morning hours, you may see some clouds. I doubt if we'll have any significant rainfall, although a sprinkle is possible. And then we clear up and dry up just in time for the weekend, which will be very nice. Temperatures around 80 degrees tomorrow. That means that most of the day will be in the 70s, but we continue with relatively dry weather all through the next 7 days.
And that is not AI generated.
No, I wrote it.
That's a real forecast. We will see some sunshine and some nice temperatures.
I sat there and painted every little sunshine on it.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us. We'll see you back here for 25 News Now at 6. World News with David Muir is next.